Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are looking at the Lego City Downtown Streetcar. This is one of the newer kind of styled tracks here. And the reason why I say that is because we have this piece here. Now I'm going to go off on a limb here and say that one of the big advantages here really is going to be for the younger kids that just do not have a lot of kind of track pieces and what have you, so that way when you're trying to do this you can actually take it off, because we don't have a motor function. We can take it off the track, we can run it around on the floor, and then we can get it back on and it should all line up. That is my estimate on this. So I really wanted to get one of these to find out exactly how true or false I really am on that thought. So here we are today. We have a small little rail system as far as like a little station here for people to board, to load, unload. We have a little coffee shop here. We have a couple handicapped people, which is really kind of getting, a little bit more common in some of the Lego sets, which, is what it is. So we have a blind person with a seeing eye dog, as well as a person on a wheelchair. So and again, then we get a ramp here for the wheelchair accessible, and we will get this going here and see how this all looks. Looking at the back side here, it comes in a couple different sets, bags obviously, so we can get the coffee part of the station as well as our waiting area and our ramp. So however you want to configure that, we have a little mobility as well as having the Technic pieces to be able to set that up. So however your city is really kind of laid out, we can kind of do that a little differently, all on depending on that same layout. All right, with that being said, let's get this broke open here. I do have my knife. Actually, we don't have tape here, so we'll just do this. I got some extra stuff off the pool table, so we can get this all out and see how many bags we have and go from there. So looking at this, I'm going to say we have at least 9 bags. So we have 9. Here's 2. Here's 8. 4. Here's 1. 7, 6, 5, 4. I'm hoping 3. Haha, 3 I can count after all. All right, 2 and 1. Now, having these tracks, like I said, looking at this looks like it's really meant so that way, depending on what you have available for you, okay? For those of us that have extra track, I've got plenty of track. I've got a couple different trains here, so I'm not too concerned about needing the extra track myself. But to sit here and say, if you don't have that extra track, you can write it up on here and that will automatically get your train right on there. Now this is not a bad setup really to have kind of on like a side, on an offshoot or something like that. So if you're trying to get your train on there initially, or if you just want to have a certain area where you can just do that, I could see this being a little on a beneficial side. Even if we just had this stuck together, I think that could work pretty well. Going from that point, even if it's a railroad crossing or something like that, I don't know, just kind of throwing some ideas out here. But I like the idea here, especially for the kids, those that just don't have the room to throw out some track. Now I do have some track, but unfortunately I've put extra stuff on top of the track, so I can't really run my track as it is. I just don't have the dedicated area I really want. So like very many other people, then you just hunting and pecking for the room you have to try and get things to work out. But for the kids though, this is really kind of nice. And then you could put on a carpet or linoleum or hardwood flooring, what have you. And like I said, the train can come off, you can run it around over to something else, and then you can bring it back. And at the end of the day, you can pick it up, put it up on a shelf, and it's all set and ready to roll for you. So I think in that regard, this works out pretty well. And this links up with all the other ones. That should link up pretty well here. Looks like it's all fitting, which is what it's meant for. So we're going to set this off to the side at the moment and see what else we have here. Now, I did not see any stickers as of yet. I'm sure they're going to be in here. Yes, they are. Okay. So we do have two different sticker boards here. So this is some solar panels and wheelchair accessible. Set these off to the side. And then we have our railway system, departure times, of course our railroad, which I think is going to be on the cars themselves, as well as our coffee shop, tickets, and then where we are on the rail line. So it kind of works out pretty good. And then we have, how many books here? So we have 7, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 2. All right. So we have 5 books. 7 is the only one that's off by itself because it's a smaller piece here, and it comes with our blind gentleman and the seeing eye dog. But we start off with one of the cars, then we have the middle car, and then last but not least we have our last car. Now this is 800 and some odd pieces here, so it shouldn't take too long, but you know, when we get into it, and then of course I will fast forward our creation and we'll get into that. But you know, as kind of always, you know, Lego has always been really, for the most part, my top tier. You know, I've done other sets and all that stuff. Lego, because they always keep however many pieces that is. I don't even think that's 100 pieces. Unlike a lot of other ones that I've done where you have to dump everything out and you're hunting and pecking for all these different pieces, and when you have 1,000 pieces, you're sitting there scratching your head on where all these are. Lego is always the best on that because they keep the piece count low per bag, so that way you're not trying to find too many pieces, or for one piece through too many pieces or whatever. You know, it makes it nice and manageable in that regard. And I think it goes by a lot faster getting these sets put together because you're not trying to look through as many pieces, and it doesn't seem as daunting and as confusing saying, okay, I'm looking for just this one and I found like 2 pieces close to it but not quite that one. So with that, let's get into this. Let's get this opened up and start going from there. All right. So now we're all done. We got them finally done. Now I will say that these have worked wonderful. Now I just did it once, and the reason why I'm saying that is this: I can spin this around. Uh, the nice thing here is, and I was kind of saying this before we started, if you're playing with this on a floor and you're trying to get your train up here, yeah, it takes a little bit, you know, because it's up a little bit. But once I get it here, then it's on there. So that is very nice, very, very effective tool for trying to get our train all lined up on here, and it gets it on there very nicely. Now, I've got some older trains. Some of the things that they've really improved here on the trucks, as I kind of flip this over a little bit here, I will take this one. All right, so with the old trucks, this rod was very snug here. Now it's no longer snug. So what it's doing is, not only can the rod roll around, so our trucks actually go, but the trucks themselves can freely spin, so that way there's nothing really binding up. So when we're doing this with a battery powered unit, it's really helping us to have a nice smooth run, and that's what's going to give us a better battery life and a better tow. Especially in comparison, because I've got some off-brand ones that they kind of bind up pretty well. They're just going to be showpieces. Let's just be honest, I can't really use them for anything else but just having it as a showpiece, and going from there. Now we do have 3 cars. The tops lift up so we can get a person on either side. You can get some people in the middle. We have some nice double doors here, so we can open that up, and it's on both sides. So however you want to line this all up, I put them in a row or in sequence here, and I actually moved this around. You saw me do that. Whoops, did I knock it over? Mainly so that way I could have everything all in line. We have our entry right here, so our person in a wheelchair can get by and go through there without a problem. And that works out pretty well. Now for the wheelchair, they actually have a little raised platform, so that way everything kind of bolts in here and everything sits kind of nice. So that way we don't have to worry about the person in the wheelchair flying all over the car. It works out pretty well for that. And of course, then we have the other side. These two are identical. So in that regard, it really doesn't matter what side you're on. It's identical, so it works out pretty good. The only thing that I'm not a big fan is the fact that we don't have the normal magnetic couplers here. The way this is set up, if we were to go out and get the Spider-Man train car, we could actually grab a couple of those and put it in here, and we could actually have those go in line. So that would kind of work out in that regard, and we could just use some technique to just kind of hold them together. So if you're looking for a train, just a base train or whatever, that would be a very easy way of doing it, and I might get a couple of them knowing this now. Now when I was looking at it before, I was looking at it because of how this all sits, and when you're looking at it and it's like this, I'm like, I don't know how that connects. But now having done this, okay, it works okay. It's not a big deal, and we could put this in line with other ones. So that gives us an ability to have some streetcars. So if I wanted to have that, I could easily probably put that in line and then get some streetcars going. That would work out pretty well. So, all right, we're going to get the train out of the way. The train is kind of nice. This does kind of come in a little bit. So if I want to flesh that out, lift this up so I can get the figure in and out of here, that'll work. And I can just squeeze that back in. Not a problem there. I'm going to knock this just out of the way a little bit so we can bring this up a little bit closer. Now, some of the features that they have in here, this isn't just a straight platform, and I did miss a piece earlier on, and you kind of saw me fit it in here. Underneath here, this is free floating. So as the train comes up, we have platforms that go out, so that way we can get our characters a little closer to the train. It works out pretty good. I'll get my little coffee person in here. So in that regard, this works out pretty well. We can back that off so as the train is coming through, we're not hitting up against a train. Adds a nice little play feature there, and I think it works out pretty good. We do have some stickers on here which shows us what our line is supposed to be, some arrival times, a nice little bench, a garbage can, a little spot here for some foliage. Kind of nice. You know, we have a firefighter who's holding a paper, and it's actually I think they're all the same, but in his paper, it's funny because it's world's, what is it, the greatest hero ever, and it's a fireman putting out a fire or whatever. So presumably it's going to be our firefighter here. Now I'm going to put it over here for our newsstand here. Now, one of the other things I do want to mention, and this is kind of nice. Now, we've had mini cups before. Usually it's done as like a water bottle, so it's just a regular, seeing that I got some extra pieces. Regular pieces with one of these kind of I don't know how to say this and make it sound polite enough that YouTube's not going to be upset with me, but you get the idea. One of these kind of pieces onto a round block, 1x1 block, and it works pretty good for like water bottles and all that. But this one actually has the cup, the coffee cup look, including like a little divot in there, so it looks like you could take a drink out of it. So it works pretty good in that regard. He's got the firefighter jacket on there. He's got some nice print on the back. All these figures here have really nice print on them. So as I put him in here, let's grab our barista. Oh, and she's got overalls here. She's got the little coffee mug. Back of the shirt looks pretty good. A little bit of print on there, kind of making it, oops, as I knock the camera around, fill out pretty good. We have our little kid here in a sweater, kind of like the Charlie Brown look. Not a big deal here. And the dog. Now, he's got a nice reflective vest. This kind of just snaps onto the back, and it works out pretty good. A nice looking dog here for him. And he's got like a track suit of some sort and some sunglasses on. So whether you wanted to use them for that or something else. No other face. There is a couple that have a second face. I think our barista does. She's got a smile on either side. So just trying to figure out which one I wanted to keep. And I usually keep my figures with a smile on here. I like to think that we have a nice happy community here, and it works out pretty good. This is a, not an overly complicated kind of setup here for our platform for getting on and off the train. It works out pretty good. Lifting this up though, we have a spot for our tickets. The stickers worked out pretty good. This was printed, so that was kind of nice. Sometimes, I'm not the easiest on getting stickers on straight either. And we do have some solar panels for some renewable energy to help light this up. Something small like that, I think you could probably do it for the lights. The coffee maker, I think, is probably going to need a little extra power there, but hey, we can let our imagination run on that. All in all, a nice little piece, a nice starter set, a great thing for the kids. Like I said, with this rail system helping you get the train on the track correctly, that system works out very nicely. I'm happy I've got this. I do have some other ones. I've got a bigger stationer so that we will have to get together in the future. And that's got these on there too. So it's a nice starting point for the trains. Just kind of wish I had some motor functions, and I may have to see about trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Whoops, I actually had this come off the rail. That's a first. All right, so out of doing this a number of times, that's the first time this has come off the rail. It didn't go on there correctly, but now it's on there. Okay. So what, once out of 4, once out of 5 times, something like that. All in all, not that bad. This rolls really nice for me. Um, it has a very nice glide. So as far as that goes, that works out really nice for a small set that we can put up on a a dresser or a little shelf in a bedroom or something like that. This works very nice. The only thing I would probably do if I was just storing it is I would probably get a block or two, probably on the inside. I would probably put a couple blocks or something. Essentially, something like this here, and I'll put it right here. Um, Mainly so that way it doesn't go too far is really what I'm trying to say. So I can put this here so it kind of stops it so it doesn't roll too far, and then I will do something similar on the other side. And if I'm over this, then what I'll have to do is I will have to put it somewhere else. So the question is, where's our next spot? So I'm going to probably just put it, see, right in there. Of course, then the problem is, I mean, it can roll that way, but it stops. I can't just slide it on and off. But if I'm putting it on a dresser or something, and I don't want this just to get knocked off by the cat jumping on there, because I've got Indy here, I'd probably do a system like this just to make sure that this stays on here pretty good, and I don't have to worry about it falling off. I might even take this and put it right in here or something. Seeing that wants to kind of lift this up a little bit. But with this one also in here, it does stop it pretty good. So that's just me saying that. Whatever you guys decide to do is, of course, your ideas. The nice thing about Lego is we can make it our world how we want to do it. And this does work out pretty good. A nice little train set to get things going. Non-motorized, so as far as that goes, we could motorize this somehow. I'm sure of it. I just don't know exactly how the best way of doing that would be. I would say probably if we had some extra cars in here and turn one of those cars maybe into it all on its own, so that way we can push and pull at the same time. But leaving this just the way it is, I think that's what I would do. With that being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's always wonderful having you here. Hope you enjoy the video. I will see you in the next one.